Hi, so today we're going to start and we're going to learn some bass chords and how they come together and how you're going to play them. So starting with the low string on the bass, known as the E, all your chords are going to be rooted off of there. So let's get started. So with your left hand, you want to use your middle finger or your index finger, whichever is more comfortable to you. And whatever you put your finger on is going to be your root note. So starting with A as the root note, I'm going to go over one fret and all the way up to the top string. And then play the high note there, and that's the third. Together it sounds like this. And then I'm going to move up to another chord, which is also a B, and I'm going to play the minor. So it's going to come off just below that same fret on the same string, and this is what it sounds like. So we have our major shape and our minor shape. Now this next chord is known as a double stop, and what we do is we go from the root and we're going to do it off the D string, which is the third string here, and we're going to go over 2 frets and up 1 string, and that's called a root fifth, and it's used a lot in jazz and also in rock to make a big sound for the bass. And this is what it sounds like. Okay, this next bass chord is known as a root fifth or double stop. It's used a lot in jazz and rock to make kind of a big full sound on the bass. We're going to start on the D string, and we're going to use that as the root. The root here is the G, and then we're going to go over 2 frets and up 1 string. And this is what it sounds like. Notice you can slide this along the fretboard or just go in between the frets. And this double stop always sounds best on the highest 2 strings of the bass. If you go down lower, it gets a little bit muddier and starts to lose its definition. So try using this one more commonly on the high strings. Alright, the next set of bass chords we're going to learn are known as thirds. And we're starting with the root on the D, and we're going to look for a major chord, which is the 3. And it's a major third right there, so you just go down 1 string and back 1 fret. And then to go to a minor chord, we're going to start with our root on A, and we're going to go down 1 string and over 2 frets. And then you can slide, this is going to be the same shape for any chord, and you're basically going to move around the fretboard as you please, depending on the key you're in. So we're going to get into right hand technique of how to play the bass chords. So I've taught you the big major chords using the low string and the highest string. I'll tell you the minor chords. I'll tell you the double stop fifths. And I've also taught you the minor thirds and major thirds on the high strings. Now we're going to focus on the right hand and how I'm playing these chords. The 2 easiest ways to play it. The first way is to use a standard position, which is a 2-finger technique, and you can take your first finger and hit the lowest note, and then use your middle finger to play the highest note. And the importance is to let that ring out, and watch how my hand is mounted on the strings. Now another way to play bass chords is by plucking them together at once. As you can see, I'm going to start with a minor chord, my middle finger on the lowest string, my pinky finger on the highest string. I'm going to take my thumb and my middle finger and simultaneously strike the strings and pull them out. to show you that same plucking technique with the root fifth and the thirds, playing on the high strings. As you can see, the right hand, I pluck with my thumb and my middle finger. Now you can also pluck with your index finger. Almost make like a snapping motion. Alright, now we're going to talk about seventh chords with the bass. And using the same shape, we're going to take our middle finger and root it on C, go over one fret and onto the highest string with our pinky. And then what we're going to do is add our ring finger to the D string on the same fret as the middle finger, and that's your seventh note right there. And this is what it sounds like together. It's a very jazzy chord. Now I'm going to show you a minor seventh chord, and I'm going to use it together with the major seventh chord I just taught you. Using the root note C on the middle finger, your pinky is going to provide the minor third on the same fret, and your ring finger will be using the seventh chord. And you use those all on the same fret, and you can strike them together. And then together with the major seventh chord, it sounds like this. Arpeggiate the chords if you want with the thumb, finger, and index finger. Alright, the next chord we're going to be learning is a ninth chord, and it's based off the root fifth. So, working off the A string, we're going to the fifth fret, which is a D note. We're going to go over 2 frets and up 1 string with our ring finger, which is an A note. And then doing that same shape, we're going over 2 frets and up 1 string, and that's our ninth. And you can make the shape like this with the index, ring, and pinky. And that's your ninth. It's a very colorful chord. This is an example of using all the chords in an improv musical section.